That's in place, is that anywhere near sufficient in order to tackle the threat posed by the NSA?
No, I mean it doesn't do what needs to be done. I mean they need to have a process that does limits what NSA looks at and can take in and store in its databases, so that other, like law enforcement or other agencies in the government, can't take advantage of it and use it illegally or unconstitutionally, like doing parallel constructions and using that data to convict and arrest people.
How do they go about doing that? What's the nature of the parallel construction?
What that simply means is normal policing procedures are used to acquire information that makes you, gives you probable cause to arrest somebody. So given that the NSA data already has provided the information that they need to arrest somebody, once they find that, they say, okay, now you have to use normal policing procedures to find the equivalent data that you would have if you did it as you normally should have. That means they're trying to make themselves look really great, you know, and efficient. And in fact, one of the federal officers was quoted by Reuters about the program saying, "This is such a great program, I just hope we can keep it secret."
Why was it important for you to come and speak to the committee today?
Because I wanted to make sure that they understood certain things and that what the real issues were, as far as I saw them. I wanted to convey that to them. So hopefully raise their understanding of what the real issues are all about and what the threats are to democracy around the world.
You talked about a moral standard that has to be set. What is that standard and how do you go about setting it?
But it fundamentally boils down to the respect for the rights of others and the rights to privacy and their rights to be left alone. That's the foundational of our Constitution that says then they have the right to free association and due process and privacy and the right not to be testifying against themselves. Those are all the rights that are part of the respect of people as individuals.
Is there any way we could have a truly clear view on the extent and the scope of the spying the NSA carried out?
Well, I mean, you can take a look at the storage facilities they're building and get an idea of how much they're taking in. Like a 1 million square foot storage facility in Bluffdale, Utah. Another 600,000 square foot facility they're starting to build. They started last summer in Fort Meade, on Fort Meade. And then a 400,000 square foot facility they have down in San Antonio, and other storage that they've had existing all along at Fort Meade, as well as other facilities around the world. I mean, if you see the storage that they're bringing online, you can say they're really collecting an awful lot of information. So that, my estimate, was in the zettabyte category of collection. Cisco did an estimate. Cisco routers, they do the routers. I guess they sold the routers to NSA. So they did an estimate that in Bluffdale they felt that it was very likely that they were ingesting on the order of 966 exabytes a year by 2015, which means about a zettabyte a year goes into Bluffdale alone, if you accept their estimate.
Now, sorry, could you explain what a zettabyte is?
A zettabyte is 2 times 10 to the 21st bytes of characters of data. It's billions and billions and billions and billions of billions of, you know, so,
okay.
Right, it's a lot of data. They, by the way, if they made a breakthrough in quantum storage, then zettabytes are not enough and yottabytes aren't either. So we have to get a new term. So I've been advocating the next term should be a lot of bytes, you know, something like that, or a bunch of bytes, something to be humorous about it, you know.
How closely, there's been a lot of, here in Germany, there's been a lot of news stories about this. How closely were the German Secret Service, the German security services, working with the NSA to spy on the German people?
Well, you see, I don't know that they did that in a cooperative way. I don't know that they spied on the German people. I have no first-hand knowledge of that at all. I do know that they are looking at the internet. I mean, That's a problem that I tried to get them interested in doing, and I think they have adopted some of that. How much they're doing, I don't know.
And with Edward Snowden, what next for him? Where does he, what should he be doing? Could he ever come here to Germany?
I think probably would be a dangerous thing for him, you know, given the way I mean, after all, the United States government, under the assumption that he was being conveyed by the president of Bolivia's plane, right? They grounded that plane in Vienna, Austria. So that shows the desperation they had to get him. So if he came into this country, there's no guarantee he couldn't be rendered somewhere, you know. So I wouldn't think that his security was too terribly great if he came here, in my own opinion.
Would you suggest he stays in Russia?
Yes. He's protected there, at least, I think.
What are the biggest threats that the NSA pose to the people here in Germany's security, privacy, I beg your pardon?
Well, I mean, the fact that they have all the data, I mean, they're basically collecting, they own the network fundamentally, is the way I've viewed it from all the exposures that have been published from Edward Snowden's leaks. It looks very much to me like they own the entire network anywhere in the world. So that, I mean, with implants on the order of 50,000 plus, and with taps into fiber lines and cooperative efforts with companies and other agencies, why, it seems to me that they simply own the network. So the threat, the point is, around the world, no one has any privacy. There's nowhere to hide.
And what's the danger of that for the private individual?
Well, the danger is, you can't say, I'm not doing anything wrong, so I have nothing to fear, right? Because that is irrelevant. What the individuals think is irrelevant. Only what the government thinks and what their perspective is of that individual and what they're doing is relevant.
Okay.
Plus, I would add, it's a good quote from Joseph Goebbels.